Hey guys, welcome back to Garage Gossip. My name is Mara, and in today's episode, I gotta be honest, I actually don't have that much related to Formula One because honestly, much happened the past week, but not much related to Formula One. If you get what I mean, I obviously do have things in some sort of way related to F1 and to the F1 drivers, but it's not related to like Singapore. I will talk a little teeny tiny bit about Singapore, but not that much. So yeah, that being said, let's get started with today's episode. Alrighty, so like I said, I don't have that much related to Formula One. But it is in some way still related to Formula One. I'm making it so difficult explaining it for myself. First things first, let's talk about Max Verstappen. So, like I said, related but not related. So obviously Max Verstappen is related to Formula One, but whatever. You'll see. So I think by now everybody's heard that Mr. Max Verstappen did some endurance racing in his free time because that man was like, you know what, I don't need a break. I want to race, and so he turned to endurance racing. I think it was GT3, and he did a race at the Nürburgring in Germany, and qualified in P3, won the race, just won the race. And the best thing of all, 24 seconds ahead of the person, like the team that was in P2. 24 seconds. Yeah. I mean, it's Max Verstappen being Max Verstappen. Like, he is, and I personally think he is finding back his spark doing stuff like that. And I'm actually very scared to see him this weekend in Singapore because I actually think that what Red Bull is really in an uprise again because their weekend last time in Azerbaijan and Baku, perfect weekend. Yuki in in top 10, Max in P1, perfect weekend for them. They executed that weekend perfectly, and I think that has all to do with Laura Mackie and with Christian Horner not being at Red Bull anymore because he has officially left the whole. Because when they announced that he would no longer be the team principal, he was still an active worker for Red Bull, so he still worked at Red Bull, but he just wasn't team principal anymore, and he wasn't really in the foreground anymore. But now he has officially left Red Bull, so he is no longer part of the Red Bull team, um, which a lot of people have said he might go to Audi next season or to what's the other one, Andretti next season. I don't see it happening personally, but there might obviously still be a chance, you know. Um, but yeah, no, I really think Max Verstappen is finding back his spark doing stuff like this, doing stuff like he did this weekend. And the funny thing of all, he could not open a champagne bottle. I don't know if you've seen that video. If you haven't, search it up on TikTok. It's so funny. Everybody on the podium, because in the endurance racing, there's also always two drivers for one car. Everybody on the podium is spraying their champagne, and in the background, you just have Max Verstappen trying to open his champagne bottle, which is so funny because he has sprayed champagne so many times in Formula One already. Yeah, it's so ironic. It's so funny. Yeah, I mean, it's typical Max Verstappen behavior, right? It's like I said, it's Max Verstappen being Max Verstappen. I don't know if the people in the GT3 championship were very happy with Max Verstappen being there. But you know, it's funny. It's also funny that the first race won on a Ferrari this season is not by Charles or Lewis; it's by Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen won that race in a Ferrari. That makes it so much better. Then moving on to topic number 2 that I've written down, which is actually pretty much related to Formula One. Romain Grosjean. I think we've also all heard by now that he, after 5 years, like 5 years after his crash, the well-known "the man who walked out of fire" crash, he was finally back in an F1 car, which was probably for him a very special moment. He did a private testing with Haas. I can't remember which circuit it was. It wasn't a circuit that I had known, like that I knew of. I think it was somewhere in America, probably. Haas, knowing Haas, but I don't know for sure. And to make it even more special, he did that testing with his helmet that was designed for his 2020 Abu Dhabi race, and it was designed by his kids because that was supposed to be his last race in Formula One. Obviously, it wasn't because he had that crash, I think, in Qatar. So obviously, he was in no shape to race when Abu Dhabi came in 2020. But it's so special that he finally got to wear that helmet, that it didn't just go to waste, because it's such a cute helmet as well. Like the fact that it's designed by his kids, and obviously his kids are older right now. I mean, been 5 years, so his kids are 5 years older right now as well, and obviously they would have drawn a whole new helmet for him if he asked right now. I just think it's very special that he did do the testing with that helmet, and not just with a random one. You know what I mean? And it's not like he didn't race before, because obviously he has raced in different championships, just not in Formula One. And I think one, it had to be scary for him getting back in an F1 car, but two, it had to be a very special moment as well. I've seen videos of him, coming in the garage again, and just everybody of the team that's there from Haas is just standing around applauding him. And I'm also really happy that Ollie was there, that I don't know. The fact that I saw Ollie on that video made it that much more special in a way. I don't know if Esteban was there. I didn't see him in any videos, so maybe he wasn't. Yeah, it was very special, I think. I'm flying through these stuff. Then we have a topic that's actually pretty sad, and I've been thinking about this literally my whole weekend. And that's Lewis Hamilton and his dog Roscoe. I just had to come in this episode really quickly. While filming this episode, I talked a little bit about Roscoe. Unfortunately, sadly, while I was editing this episode, the news sadly came that Roscoe has passed away. And I didn't really feel that it was necessary to keep that bit in the episode because of that. But I do want to ask that since he has sadly passed away, we can hold a little 1 minute of silence in memory of Roscoe Hamilton. My thoughts are obviously with Lewis on this. If you want to know what happened to Roscoe, I'd recommend you go to Lewis Hamilton's Instagram page, because he posted a little bit about it on there. But yeah, my thoughts are obviously with Lewis right now. Let's continue with the episode. Yeah. I'm actually flying through these things. What the hell? I did not anticipate me going through this so quickly. I mean, I anticipated me going through them quickly, but not this quickly. Last week's episode was pretty long. It was over 30 minutes, which not usually what I do, but I fear this might be under 20 minutes, and that's also not usually what I do. I'm really trying to make this episode longer for y'all guys. what have I then written down? Yes. So before we head to Singapore, I want to talk a little bit about some feeder series. And the first thing that I want to talk about is F3. I saw this on my Instagram, and I think, like, I'll reenact it. So I was scrolling on Instagram, right? And then I saw it. That's my reaction. That was how my reaction went. For the people listening, I was just pretty shocked. Like, my mouth hung open, and I was like, okay, actually, damn. Yeah, so what is the news here? There will, from 2025, will be a 1 million prize fund for the top 5, like, drivers in F3, in the F3 championship. So the first, like, the person that wins the championship will receive 300,000 euros. The second, 250,000 euros, obviously. The third one, 200,000 euros. The fourth one, 150,000, and the fifth one, 100,000. Which I'm so happy by that news. I mean, Richard Verschoor also commented on that post, and he commented something like a step in the right direction, something like that. And I honestly think this is such good news for those feeder series, because we've had so many drivers not being able to drive a whole season. Look, this season as well, Sami Mykhitaryan and Max Verstappen had to stop because they couldn't drive. They couldn't afford to drive a whole season. F2 seats are expensive, and the fact that they have to pay all of that themselves is insane. F3 seats are also expensive, but the fact that they're now getting a prize fund to go into F2 is incredible. And it's really, like Richard Verschoor said, a step in the right direction. The only criteria that the drivers have to meet to get the prize fund is that they have to be racing in F2 the following season, or otherwise their prize will go to the next highest placed driver. So, say for example, the driver in third doesn't have a seat, his prize goes to the fourth one goes to the fifth, and the fifth one goes to the sixth. A little example for y'all. Yeah, I really think that is actually so great. Because I don't like, I hate it when drivers suddenly have to swap during the season. It's really, I don't know if that's something artistic of me, but I hate it when there's suddenly a new driver on the grid and I don't know anything about him. Like, I feel when, it's obviously different when we're starting a new season. This season, obviously, we started a new season, we had a whole lot of new drivers come in. It's okay, because then throughout the season, I will get to know them, and I will get to know who they are as a person, who they are as a driver, that sort of stuff. But now, in Baku, we suddenly had 2 new drivers, and I didn't know anything about them. Well, that's not true. I did know a little bit about Van Hoopen, but not that much about Stan Schoen, and I was like, ugh. Yeah, it really is frustrating for me, actually. Might be something autistic. I don't know, guys. I don't know. And then something else that I've written down, F1 Academy related. I saw this on Instagram as well, and I'm so excited about this. F1 Academy is doing a collab with none other than Hello Kitty. Like, oh my god. It's for the Las Vegas Grand Prix, which is also their last Grand Prix of the season, which is so much fun. I have talked about that so much. The fact that F1 Academy is having their last race in Las Vegas is iconic. And now the fact that they are doing a Hello Kitty collab in Las Vegas for their last race is even more iconic. Like, I'd love to be there. Unfortunately, it is in America, and I will not go to America anytime soon, but I'd love to be there. Yeah, no, they also have their own grandstand, which is so fun. I think it's in, like, the first turn. I can't fully remember where it was, but I think it's there. Yeah, it's so much fun. And then I was thinking, okay, an F1 Academy X Hello Kitty collab for Las Vegas makes sense. Let's do, if they are racing in Zandvoort again next season, because it's the last race in Zandvoort. Because Zandvoort is being removed from the calendar, let's do a Miffy X F1 Academy collab. for Zandvoort, because Miffy is Dutch, as you may or may not know. In Dutch is actually called Nijntje, which I love Nijntje. And I would love an F1 Academy collab with Nijntje / Miffy. That would be iconic. I'd actually buy every single piece of that collab, I think, because one, I love F1 Academy, two, I love Miffy / Nijntje. So yeah. Somebody needs to bring that idea to life. Somebody needs to bring that idea to freaking life. And actually, we're already on the last thing that I've written down. Jesus, this episode is short. Whoopsies. Singapore. It's a Singapore preview / a look back. The main thing, and I hate to talk about this, but the main thing I remember from Singapore last season is that it was Daniel Ricciardo's last race. I know. It makes me sad thinking about it. That man deserved better. He deserved better. The way they let him go. Back then at V Cup, not okay. Absolutely not okay. But that's literally like the main thing I remember from last season. I was writing down my notes for this episode and I wrote down Sainz win last season, which is not true. That was 2023, not 2024. So yeah, that explains. I thought Singapore last season was like the Sainz win, Norris P2, Russell crash in the last lap. That race. That's 2023. I honestly can't remember a single fuck about Singapore last season. I have written down the podium last season. That was Lando Norris in P1, Max Verstappen in P2, and Oscar Piastri in P3. I am really curious about the dynamics at McLaren the upcoming weekend. I hope the McLaren pit crew of Lando have figured that shit out, because if Lando has another shitty pit stop, I will come for them. I will come for them, and I'm not alone. I'm pretty sure that I'm not alone. Because what the hell? What the hell? How can you give Oscar such good pit stops? It's literally a way of the way that McLaren is sabotaging their own driver so that their other driver wins the championship, and it's not okay. It's not okay. You will always, in a team, you will always have a first driver and a second driver. Okay, and I have thought, last season, I thought it was Lando first, Oscar second. This season, starting this season, I also thought Lando first, Oscar second. But it's switched around somewhere. It's switched around, and Oscar is now priority driver, first driver. Lando, I think, is like fifth driver. Like, they don't fucking care about Lando. They don't care about that man. Which is not okay. It's not okay. It's not. No. No. And I'm not saying this as a McLaren girlie. I think everybody that is watching the F1 races, like, realizes this and sees this and realizes that it's not okay to treat your drivers like that. It's not okay. Yeah. It's crazy, actually, that they do that. Honestly, in my opinion, it's crazy. Other things that are Williams, the pace in the Williams. Because obviously we had Carlos Sainz on the podium last weekend in Baku, which I don't know if Singapore circuit and the Baku circuit are the same in dynamics. They're both street circuits, so I think that is maybe gonna help Williams, but I don't really know the dynamics of the Singapore circuit, honestly. But yeah, no, I am curious to see what the Williams team can bring, because, like I said, we had that good pace in Carlos's Williams last weekend. So yeah, it's also a night race, and that's fun. Like, I love night races. I love a good night race. I cannot watch it, unfortunately. I have to rewatch it once again because I have dance practice. I love dance, but it sucks that it's right at the time that every Grand Prix is. Yeah, no. I'm thinking what else? What else am I excited about in Singapore? Obviously F1 Academy, because they are racing as well there. And I mean, it's a heavy race for F1, but also for F1 Academy. The humidity in Singapore is crazy. That's why it's a night race. Temperatures crazy. That's why it's a night race. But the F1 academies don't race during the nighttime because obviously they can't go in the middle of the night. You know what I mean? So they have to do it. I think it's their first race is before the F1 race or the F1 quali, which means that they do have to race like towards the evening, midday time. So it's pretty hot then. So we always talk about like the drivers, like the F1 drivers having it being like suffocating in their cars. But the F1 Academy girlies, they are stronger than those F1 drivers because their temperatures are insane. Obviously, test races are shorter, but still insane. In freaking insane. I'm actually, yeah, I don't know what else to talk about, honestly. And I don't want to make this episode like too crazy long by talking about nonsense. So I think, can't believe I'm saying this. So I think I'm going to end the episode here. Next week's episode will obviously be longer than this one. I promise y'all that. I'm hoping for a very interesting Singapore Grand Prix. I'm hoping for a very interesting Singapore quali. I think it's a normal race, like it's not a sprint race, because we have a lot of sprint races coming up. I think what race is after Singapore? Actually, now I need to know. Ooh, Austin. I think Austin is a sprint race. Is it? I don't know. Yeah, I think Austin is a sprint race. Every time I hear Austin, I need to think about Ginny and Georgia. Crazy. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode. It's a bit on a shorter side. I know, I'm very sorry for that, but I still hope you enjoyed it. You on YouTube, you will see me again next week, hopefully in a longer episode, and you on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you are listening to this right now, you will hear me again next week. Bye!